I'm Chimezie Obi Iwagu. Today on the show, Goldman Sachs says Eskom planned power cuts to hit South Africa's first quarter GDP growth. Tunisia's central bank keeps benchmark interest rate on hold at 7.75%. Plus, Egypt's Alexandria brings Trump up to speed with new vehicles. First, the markets. And here in Africa, the JSE index and the NSE index reversed their losses, trading in the green at intraday. The NSE index was up 0.48%. The JSE index was up 0.03%. Egypt is closed with Kenya trading up on Thursday. In the Middle East, the markets are closed on Friday, but on Thursday, mixed sentiment trailed the markets. Dubai's stock market dropped, weighed down by its property shares, while Qatar slipped as its heavyweight stocks traded ex-dividend. The index fell 0.57% after 4 straight days of gains. Qatar's index was down 0.23%, with Bauer Real Estate shedding 6.8% and Commercial Bank losing 3.7% as the stocks traded ex-dividend. Saudi Arabia's index edged up 0.79%, with petrochemical maker Saudi Basic Industries gaining 0.2% and Samba Financial Group adding 0.5%. The Abu Dhabi index was down 0.57%. And European stocks slipped on Friday morning as worse-than-expected economic data intensified concerns around slowing global growth. But I would like to start my conversation with Conrad with Deutsche Bank's annual report. Hello, Conrad. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to me. Thank God it's Friday.
Thank God it's Friday, I must say, Conrad. Anyway, let's start off with a story about Deutsche Bank's annual earnings, of course, for 2018, which came in today. It also contains the precise amount of bonus payments to employees and top management, as well as the provisions for future legal risks. Any surprises in the report?
Yes, it's quite surprising to see how high those bonus payments are for Deutsche Bankers and how much money the management board of Deutsche Bank was paid for 2018, given the very difficult situation that Deutsche Bank finds itself in right now. Christian Sewing, Deutsche Bank's CEO, and his 8 colleagues of the management board were paid 55.7 million euros overall. That's an increase of 87%. Compared to the previous year. Of course, this has to do with the fact that Deutsche Bank returned to a net profit in 2018, 2017. The bank still made losses, but still, of course, this high payment, those high payments are really a matter of fierce and intense discussions here on the trading floors in Frankfurt and, of course, all over Frankfurt, Germany's financial center. In terms of the Deutsche Bank-Commerzbank merger, well, there's been a supervisory board meeting yesterday, and it's reported that Christian Sewing pleaded for the merger at this meeting. Also, it was reported that the due diligence process is underway, which is, of course, the process where the two banks, evaluate each other in order to find out whether or not this merger is a good idea. And what I can tell you also, Chimmy, is that investors are still very, very skeptical. The share price of Deutsche Bank at the moment down 10% compared to last Monday. This is when the share price temporarily spiked after, the merger talks were confirmed over last weekend.
So tell me, how's the German share index doing today, particularly as the purchasing managers index from your country's manufacturing sector fell sharply, but then the building industry reported a record in new orders?
Well, Jimmy, check out the graph right behind me. This is what the German share index DAX has been doing today, and this is this morning when this purchasing managers index came in for the manufacturing sector. As you said, it fell quite sharply. It fell to 44.7 points, and that's about 5 points below the level that would indicate growth. Very negative data here from the German manufacturing sector. Only services are growing, and you named the builders. They're very, very busy right now. Also, from other countries, we got economic data, which was not really convincing. In Japan, for example, manufacturers showed more weakness. The inflation rate in Japan has come down further. And as a consequence, well, investors are selling equity, they're selling company shares, and they're going into bonds, which makes the bond yields sink again. Today, the German benchmark, the 10-year Bund, its yield fell into negative territory to 0.05%.
Wrap up the week for us. What's been most important and what are investors getting prepared for next week?
Well, in terms of company news, of course, this Deutsche Bank Commerzbank story, the potential merger was the biggest story here. And politically, of course, Brexit, the ongoing drama, which is still not resolved, were the most talked about topics on the financial markets in Europe. And of course, after, it's completely unclear whether this delay that was granted to Mrs. May and her government will avoid a no-deal Brexit. This will be an important topic next week also. Apple is expected to say it's showtime on Monday, which means it's expected to present its video streaming service. That will be an important event next week. Also on Monday here in Germany, the IFO Institute will update its business climate index. Sentiment for this, of course, is not very positive after today's purchasing managers index. On Tuesday, an important event starts in China, the Chinese Economic Forum in the town of Boao on the South Chinese island of Hainan. That will be an important focus. In terms of earnings reports, we'll get a lot of earnings report from not so big, but still, bellwether companies from many different sectors. Nordex, the wind energy firm, for example, Software AG, and United Internet from the German tech sector. So I guess you will have to talk about a lot with my colleague Daniel Koch next week here.
Sure, I'm very much
Business
interested.
Incorporated.
Sure, I'm very much interested in that Apple story, and I hope Daniel and I will do justice to that. So I'll keep a tab on that story for Monday. Thank you very much for your time, Conrad.